This next video I thought I would go into some detail pertaining to the one sacrificed to become a part of the vengeance of the children of the Nephilim who died in the flood. Before their death, while the first war in heaven still raged, the children who had been taken into hiding had gathered and devised a most diabolical yet ingenious plan, as I have come to learn. In secrecy they hid from the sight of God and made a plan that involved creating an angelic eon or embodiment of a guardian angel, such as their parents were, while on earth. They planned on making this eon from the very essence of God himself and infuse it with the one that was spoken of amidst their parents but in hushed tones. The great adversary and opposition of God to come one day far into the future. The children were unclear and the details were kept a secret from them, but from what they had gathered, some great power that was an opposite of God's would come one day where they were to do battle for the control of God's creation of existence. All they knew of this adversary's description was that he was to be the source of all that was evil. Now to make this work they had to find someone imbued with the essence of God who held enough contempt in his heart to not only take a step in rising against him but willing to sacrifice their life to do so as well. As it seems to be explained in the Nag Hammurabi accounts of the Book of the Great Invisible Spirits which tells this tale, one of the 9 Adams or attempts at creating mankind, which it names them by name of the first of each attempt as having some derivative of an Adam type name such as Adramach, Adamos, Adonis, Andonius, and the one that was chosen, Abruxas. Though I do not recall exactly why or whether it listed the reason for Abruxas' stepping forth to become the sacrifice for this plan, only that he was needed because each of them had been infused with the fruit from the tree of life which had fused them with the essence of God, which is what was required to make this plan work. To hide this eon creation from the eyes of God, they had planned on using their lineage to their fathers who were assigned certain aspects of creation to protect and thus given certain authority in maintaining the balance of the universe through such aspects. With that hereditary authority they planned to mask their activities and the presence of their creation from God's perception of it existing by altering the balance and cloaking its design. Another step in this plan was to capture the aeons of principalities or the guardians of balance who were set in their proper places and watching over creation that they needed to replace in order to manipulate their plan's success. They created the Ogdode stones to achieve this, each one an imprisoned barrier used to capture each of the principalities. How many there were varies. Some say 24 principalities were captured into the Ogdode stones, some say 33, others say 12. So Abruxas was sacrificed to become Domidon Doxamedon, or the Demiurge, which was the creature also called Tiamat, and also known as Samael, as they were the 3 heads of what is also known as the Leviathan and referred to as something that never should have been. Many different legends splinter off from this point on, and the Demiurge becomes a creature that seems to corrupt and infect that which it takes form within, recreating it into a sinister demonic beast empowered by a power solely designed to conflict against that which is of God. I hear that the children transferred themselves, once the flood occurred and wiped everything that was mortal from the earth, which marked the second half of the first war, into the eon forms that housed their angelic essence once their bodies had perished. Once in their eon forms they had empowered their Nephilim fathers with the power of vengeance fueled by the death of countless innocents, which sent their protective guardian angel state into overdrive and became the 7 Archons or undead warlords under the command of the Lord of the Archons, the Demiurge, and through the free will of their children's power they became able to rise up and strike against their very creator, justified to do so by his act of destroying the world of the old kingdom. Now here is the conundrum this tale leaves off at. It is said that in the end that the destroyer of the old world, the harbinger of the great cataclysm, was cast into the forbidden realm and sealed behind the doorway into that realm by the power of the 7 sages, never to be opened again. For 7 were their number, and 7 most they always remain. However, the tales of the Rig Veda state that there were 9 sages who sealed the forbidden door, and that would actually make sense considering if no key was made for the sealed lock they placed on the door, the next viable option would be to capture the sages who sealed it, and once all who sealed it are gathered together, then one could undo the magic placed over seals upon the door, so thus 7 are their number, not 9. and 7 must they always remain. But within the core of the Leviathan's dark consciousness, the living evil that resides behind all the other masks would be Abraxas, the one who was sacrificed to infuse God's essence into the being of destruction, which would explain why they had to find one with enough contempt within their heart for God to become the beast that they needed. This is what I've managed to decipher from various antediluvian texts. From what I understand, the core reason behind his contempt was a part of his request once his job was done, which was to reunite with his daughter and be placed as a guardian over her spirit for eternity within her tomb, which lay beneath the Sphinx and was there hidden in a secret tomb before the Sphinx was even built. I've had to piece this tale together and had no past memories pertaining to it, for my death came before it happened, and these were events that transpired after my murder and being cast out of heaven to the earth into this era far into the future and far from being able to affect the war that unfolded any further. It seems though that my death became like a montage to those that rose up afterward in a struggle for survival, to which I applaud their efforts and say well played. So it is unclear exactly who is sealed behind that doorway. Is it the creator, the harbinger of the great cataclysm and bringer of the flood, or Sudra by the Rig Veda accounts, or is it the creator infused with the eon form of the demiurge, as the accounts of Apollyon the Destroyer suggest further in the Mahabharata texts pertaining to Mahakala, or is it the demiurge himself who awaits the day of prophecy when the doorway will be destroyed by the alignment of the stars that will mark the time when he is freed from his prison to walk the earth again, as the prophecy of the Druidic culture who were guardians and keepers of the seal that kept that doorway closed suggest? All distractions and leads meant to use up what is becoming what precious little time we have left, as the prophecy of this doorway's opening draws near at the end of this year.
Long before mankind existed, the Old Ones trod upon the earth. They worshipped the elder gods and served them as slaves. But in time, the Old Ones gained the knowledge of dark magic and dared to use their sinister powers against their masters. The wrath of the elder gods was merciless and terrible, and those who rebelled against them were banished to distant dimensions and imprisoned deep within the darkest recesses of the earth. In deathless sleep, the Old Ones dream and lie in wait for the time when they shall rise again. For when the stars come right, they shall awaken from their eon-old slumber. Then shall they return to hold dominion over our world once more, bringing woe and destruction unto man.